Was for Raven here another day with all you guys, and today we have the HMS Iron Duke, the Tier 5 British battleship. Before we get into more details, let's analyze the enemy team. We see that they have two Tier 5 German battleship König, which they are very tough because it's really difficult to get any damage out of them. They are very well designed. But our main focus is going to be that they have 4 destroyers. And of course, us being in a battleship, knowing that there's going to be 4 destroyers means that probably we're going to have lots of torpedo income alerts. So let's have that in the back of our mind, before we start, trying to push or anything like that. As it always happens in this map, we have the more lightweight cruisers, charging up the 9-10 line. So quickly we're going to change to my Kenny because of course enemy Phoenix giving us broadside we're going to punish. And of course boom, 11,000 and Citadel. And we can see that even though my friend from his Iron Duke didn't hit him, he also retaliated against the same ship. But it is alright, Hestel. We all know that you're not a great shot. So the Iron Duke. Well, it was a World War One British battleship that was laid down in 1912 and was added to the Grand Fleet on 1914. And it was actually the flagship of the Grand Fleet when they got engaged in the Battle of Jutland against the German High Seas Fleet. HMS Iron Duke is actually credited with inflicting heavy damage on the battleship König and destroying another German destroyer later on in the engagement, which is quite funny, because that's what's going to happen in this battle. So let's take a moment to analyze the HE characteristics of the British HE in this battleship. As we can see, we have a more or less broadside Myogi and boom, 7,000 damage, the rudder is broken, a fire. So it is extremely hard-hitting, high explosive. And that's because in all other nations, except the Germans, the high explosives penetrates 1/6 of the armor. But with the Brits and the Germans, they penetrate 1/4. And well, now we have here the AP, which if you thought that because they have a strong HE they will have stupid AP, well, no. Their AP has actually a very short fuse, which I kind of like more because it's more reliable. Nevertheless, you will really excel in British battleships if you know how to time your correct ammunition in the best time. For example, now we see a cruiser. Having a short fuse for when you're shooting a cruiser means that there's more chance, that there's going to be lowest over penetrations, as we can see here. It was 3 over penetrations, but the one that penetrated made 4,000 damage. And that's really the beauty of the ammunition in British battleships. For example, right now we are loading HE, and as I told before, the HE is super hard hitting. For example, this Königsberg, if we hit the citadel of this Königsberg with HE, we will probably get into the into the citadel, and we have a higher chance of magazine detonation, etc. But also the HE destroys more modules. We saw that, we destroyed the rudder, we destroyed the engine room, we made a fire. So if you don't know really how to use the correct amount of ammunition, it's as simple as this. With this ship, it has such good HE that I recommend to have HE loaded all the time until you see that something is giving you broadside. For example, in this one we have the HE loaded, and even though only one penetrated and we didn't make a lot of damage, made 2 fires. And now we're reloading the AP because we can punish heavily, a battleship that is giving us broadside. Nevertheless, you also have to note that getting into the citadels of battleships with this short fuse AP, it's is not normal. It is normal on cruisers, not on battleships. That doesn't mean it's bad, because it's gonna penetrate, it's gonna make a lot of damage. Maybe it's not gonna get into the citadel, but you saw there, 4 penetrations, 9,000 damage. Maybe with an American battleship or a German battleship, that would be a citadel. Yes, maybe. But nevertheless, you know, its reliability and the ammunition, what we really like here. And well, do you remember, guys, that I was telling you that these two ships, the Iron Duke and the Koenig, saw each other in the Battle of Jutland, and that the Iron Duke hit 6 shells? Well, here you can see 3 shells impacting, you know, robbing to that Koenig 7,000 damage, which is a really good hit for such a volley, you know, 14 kilometers. The thing here is that all the battleships and all the ships of that era had very poor characteristics with plunging fire. That's fire that's coming from very high angles, because the decks are not so armored for them. Nevertheless, right now my friend Infesto, you know, is like driving a bit, like trying to maximize those shots, you know, and he's gonna get into the island, so we're gonna cut, and so we can see, you know, after he's passing through the island, that is a minute, you know, nothing happening. So well, we are here, and now we can see, for example, that we have again HE loaded, and even though it's not the best option for this, for a broadside Koenig, it will still do reliable damage. That's why I say, you know, if you can shoot, well, that over there you can see what happens, you know, with the RNG of battleships, which is lower than the actual RNG of battleships in Second World War. Here, battleship hits something about like 20% of the shots. In World War II, hit like something like 3%. But of course, those 3% were extremely hard hitting. And now we are, as you can see me in the Koenig in front, because what we are doing now is I'm going to charge with the Koenig, and I'm going to angle heavily against the position, leaving the Iron Duke to do what it does better, and is to deal damage. Remember, the Iron Duke doesn't deal with damage itself as good as giving damage. He's a giver, he's not a taker. So, we can see here that the Koenig just rammed himself just before a Festa shot, and well, part of his shots goes into the island. But now the other 3 back turrets are going to be reloaded, and for example, this French cruiser is so lightly armored that the HE characteristics of this ship works extremely well against French cruisers. You can see there, well, it hit 4 shells, 4,000, but you know, it broke everything. And that's the thing, that if we catch this guy in broadside, it could have been much worse, because I'm pretty sure that as he was so angled, maybe we hit a part that was oversaturated. I don't know what that first shot was, the special, but the second one, boom, destroys this guy. And now you can see that he is starting to get focused, because he's advancing and getting forward. And you can see the characteristics of this ship as receiving damage. And for example, against this Koenig, he's extremely well angled. I mean, this, if it hits his bell, it should ricochet. But as I told you, the bell, which is near the waterline, it's very thick, yeah. But it has another part that is on the top between the belt and the main structure that has like 150 millimeters, that makes anything that shoots a battleship penetrate. And we can see here that, well, that first shot wasn't good, but boom, it hits 2 shells, 4,000, then 1,000, then another 2,000. So he just lost 6,000 in that one, plus the other 2 salvos that also took 7,000 each, regardless of the angling. So we can see here that this ship does not deal good with receiving damage. I cannot stress that. this is not a ship that you just like go forward and just like angle and just think like, hey, I'm not gonna receive, I'm gonna tank a lot. No, this is a damage dealer. You have to use it in that sort of glass cannon. Of course, you can tank with it. It's a battleship, but don't think for yourself that it's just gonna be crazy and you're gonna you're gonna tank to death. Here, there's a very, very important shot for the game. And remember that I told you that in First World War, in Jutland, the Iron Duke killed a German destroyer. Well, it wasn't a T-22, but this last shot is very special because, well, now we're gonna switch to my camera because, well, looking at the minimap sometimes doesn't work for my friend. But we can see that we were talking that destroyer, because I'm in this position, he could just jump me. So we needed to kill him. It was very important. And now I'm gonna have we switched to my camera because we're gonna watch something that, well, would I consider to be proud of this? No. Is it extremely fun? Yeah. So, well, let's make a bit fun of myself of what's about to happen because, well, that's I'm not proud. You just look. So I get the jump on this Koenig. Well, you can see me opening with my whole salvo, boom, 5,000 and 11,000. That means 16,000 damage, you know, to a broadside Koenig at this range. And well, my friend the Festo, we were wearing comms. I don't know why I'm receiving so much damage there. He poisoned my mind. He poisoned my mind because he started thinking ram, 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 ram. So I thought like, okay, full speed ahead. Let's put the turbo in. Ram, ram, ram. Let's go for the ram. Let's ram this thing. Let's make that ram. Full speed ahead. Yeah. Ram. Come on. Okay, well, if I'm not gonna ram him, I'm gonna at least shoot at him, no? Let's try to shoot him. Let's see if I can depress the guns enough. Ooh, yeah, you saw that shot. And well, I'm sorry that you guys are seeing this because this is how old people fuck, I suppose. It's so interesting. And well, yes, I died without my ramp, but nevertheless, in that moment, you know, at 12 kilometers from the target and in a special just jump on the enemy, my friend Festo just shoots at him, and when just about to die, he goes and destroys the enemy and wins this game for the team. Yeah, what a hero. So well, you can see that for a tier 4 game, 102,000, it's pretty cool. A Confederate, a high caliber, 8 fires for 68 shells. It's a lot of hard hittings. And well, that's really how you play this battleship. Yeah, so to finish, just remember that you should use it as a glass cannon. Don't be on the front until you are in the end of the match. And well, guys, I hope you like this video. If you want to hear it in Spanish, go to my other channel, and we will see us in the next video. See ya!